Yo, what's good? We're back with another one.
It's showtime.
A former worker at a food processing plant posted footage on TikTok allegedly showing how plastics and other waste was being mixed in with pig food.
This is waste from different businesses, but they all going in here, up the line to the grinder. The grinds it out and turn it into acid.
Emmanuel Moore was a certified maintenance technician at one of Smithfield Foods' feed processing plants. In the footage posted to TikTok, Moore shows what he says are piles and piles of old, moldy food still in its packaging being ground up, shredded, and put into pig feed.
This is what it looked like when it's done. They send this stuff off to be eaten by the hogs, and then the hogs like and then we eat them. I felt like I had to tell the world, I've never seen nothing like this. This can't be like legal.
Feeding retail waste to animals is called garbage feeding, and it is legal in 27 states. But when it comes to putting packaging materials in the food,
plastic and all, don't even matter. Plastic, cardboard boxes, pallets.
The legality is less clear. A 2004 publication from the Association of American Feed Control Officials does list plastics as one of the substances legally used in animal feeds.
Plastics, plastics, plastics.
But in 2018, the AAFCO said that recovered retail food intended for use in animal feed must not contain packaging materials like plastics, glass, and metal, among others. Some say garbage feeding prevents food waste and lowers costs, but others wonder whether those benefits are worth the risk of disease transmission and plastic contamination. We reached out to Smithfield Foods about the footage. The company claims that they purchase, quote, pre-consumer bread and other baked products from these manufacturers to create high-quality animal feed, end quote. Smithfield also claims they have special equipment designed to separate the food from the packaging and referred to Moore as a former, disgruntled temporary employee. Moore says he was fired within 2 days of posting his first video, but says that even if he hadn't been,
my morals and my ethics wouldn't let me work there long term anyway, because I'll be disgusted with myself helping feed America that.
This is some of the maddest shit I've ever seen with food.
Yeah, it's fucked up, bro. Go and check out our fake food episode.
The BBC understands that the former CEO of fashion giant Abercrombie & Fitch, Mike Jeffries, and his British partner Matthew Smith are facing criminal charges of trafficking. They have previously denied allegations of wrongdoing. The FBI opened an investigation last year after the BBC revealed claims that Mike Jeffries and his partner sexually exploited and abused men at events that they hosted in their New York residences and hotels around the world.
Every week there's a new one.
There's about to be a whole lot more, bro.
Did you know that the Menendez brothers case and P. Diddy is all linked? I did a deep dive last night on the Menendez brother case, and I found out something very interesting. Their dad, the Menendez brothers' dad, worked for RCA Records. Guess who was the CEO of RCA Records? Take a look, and would you look at that? CEO of the RCA Music Group, Clive Davis. Who was Clive Davis? Clive Davis was P. Diddy's mentor. He's the top of the food chain. He runs this whole game. The cards are falling, guys. It's all about to be exposed. What do you think?
Told you, bro. Shit's about to get crazy.
Yeah, they need to let the Menendez brothers out of prison.
But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you. These are individual cases. There are indeed other perpetrators involved. They will be revealed when that particular individual case is ready to be filed. They already know who they are. And I'm talking here about not just the cowardly but complicit bystanders. That is, those people that we know watched this behavior occur and did nothing. And I'm talking about the people that participated, encouraged it, egged it on. They know who they are.
Who is he talking about, Ted?
Oprah, Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart.
Alright, that's enough. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only.
It's over. It's over. If this lawyer is correct and these claims that she just made is true, it's game over. Y'all gotta check this out.
I just hired a local counsel in California. We will be filing that lawsuit within the week. I also was just recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the stale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tape.
Yeah.
The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of, and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on.
No, I can't explain who the person was, but Mr.
profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, no venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
And I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
You can verify that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video. And I can tell the video was pornographic in nature.
It's going to be a chain reaction.
Yeah, bro. They're all coming down.
So actually, I recently was contacted by one of my business partners who's also an attorney, who said to me, well, why are we not writing the demand letter to try to do the catch and kill? And I said, well, if you want to do it, then I'll connect you and you can essentially do it. He was also concerned about wanting to protect the other person who was in the film, mainly because I've known about this for about 3.5 weeks to about a month. I've been communicating with these people who purport to have that videotape. And it wasn't until Thursday night that they outright said, can you write on your letterhead a letter to the individual who's also in the tape and see if they're interested in a catch and kill? And is that something that will give you X amount of percentage of it? I was like, I don't think I want to be involved in this, but I hadn't had time to process. But the other attorney I'm speaking of, he's pretty much been in the know the entire time since I first got contacted by these individuals with the tape. And we're pursuing now a meeting with the three of us for us to broker, I guess, a situation where we'll have certain guarantees that once we make the representations to the person in the tape, that we have some level of assurances that this is valid.
And just to be clear, two thoughts about this. One, is it a household name that we're talking about here? And secondly, are they engaged in any criminality from what you understand?
Household name, very much so. More of a household name than Mr. Combs.
Wow,
and
really?
Criminality, they are engaged in pornography. They're not doing anything illegal per se. I can't say that well, I'll say this. My concern was that I could not verify the age of the individual. So I didn't want to have anything in my phone because my issue is we can't determine if this person is 17 to 21.
Right.
No one should be able to buy their way out of this if the people in the video are underage.
They can buy their way out of anything, bro.
Out of all the Diddy videos I have done, you need to watch this one because it is mind-blowing. And seriously, wait for it. So currently Jamie Foxx is filming a comedy special for Netflix, but he got serious in it, saying that Diddy is responsible for the stroke that he had last year. And he was being dead serious. So serious, in fact, that Jamie Foxx called the FBI on Diddy. Now, Diddy and Foxx used to be very good friends, but apparently had some falling out over a business deal. And while Jamie Foxx did not get into details about how or why he was poisoned, somebody else did. I know I keep saying this, but wait for it. So, celebrity bodyguard Big Homie CC said this in quote, "Well, I know he poisoned Jamie Foxx, and Jamie Foxx reported him to the FBI because of it. I know that's a fact." If you remember last year when Jamie went into the hospital, he went in for an undisclosed medical issue. According to Big Homie, that's the reason why Jamie was in the hospital. And apparently, in addition to that, Jamie also might have gotten roughed up. There's a music director who goes by the handle Choke No Joke, and he said this: "He didn't chill, and allegedly Diddy and his security beat Jamie's ass, and that's why Jamie was in the hospital." I remember how I said wait for it? Apparently Big Homie claims that Diddy tried to poison him at least 3 times, and he has tested for cyanide in the past. And he claims that he was targeted because he got into altercations with some of Diddy's affiliates. Now, Big Homie claims that he tested positive for cyanide 3 times, and this led to pneumonia and other health complications. Here's the question. How many other bodies are there that we don't know about? Like, I'm not trying to spread rumors, I'm not trying to start anything, but this is not the first or second person who has said they've been poisoned by this guy.
Just keeps getting crazier.
I bet Diddy's leaking the videos himself, sending out warnings.
Puff ain't getting touched. Don't you understand that? Puff is not going to jail. Puff is not going to jail. We recorded we recorded all these. It was from every big top. We got the masters and everything, Puff. I'm sorry. Bro, we got the masters on everybody that you ever dealt with. I mean, that he ever dealt with. Ever dealt with. We got the masters. Don't nobody want to play with that. Everything's on tape. Everything's on tape. That's why I love Puff so much. Because everything is on tape. He ain't going to jail. You want this deal? Take that.
Orlando Brown's career began at a young age, gaining fame for his roles in TV shows like That's So Raven. However, as he transitioned into adulthood, he faced various personal struggles, including legal issues, substance abuse problems, and erratic behavior. His public appearances and social media posts have sometimes been concerning, with fans and the media speculating about his mental health. In interviews, social media posts, and a more recent podcast, Brown has made statements that suggest he may be experiencing dissociation or other mental health challenges. Dissociation is a defense mechanism where a person's thoughts, feelings, and experiences become disconnected from each other, often as a response to trauma. This could explain his fragmented way of expressing himself and his perceptions of the world around him.
Nah, he's just a
Yeah, we definitely don't want to make light of people having mental health issues, but this guy's just clearly a twat.
1933, the government got themselves into trouble and they owed a lot of gold. And so what'd they do? Article 6102, they declared a bank holiday. All the banks shut down for a week. No one could get their money out of the bank. When the banks opened back up, gold's illegal. You're not allowed to own it and you can't get your gold out of the bank. Don't worry though. We're going to give you your $20 per ounce. Here you go. These debt instruments. We're going to give them to you, but they're not redeemable for gold anymore. And by the way, it's not $20 per ounce anymore. Now it's $35 per ounce. So you just lost 60% of your wealth instantly.
Oh my God.
So we know that we can't trust them because they fail over and over and over. Then now gold is $35 per ounce. So that continued on to the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. By we get to the 50s and the 60s, all these nations around the world are like, wait a minute, what is going on? You're printing way too many dollars. We don't want these paper certificates. We want the gold. So they start collecting their gold from the US. France sends their warships over to the US to collect the gold. And President Richard Nixon in 1971 said, nope, we default on our obligations. We will not pay out the gold. The gold window is closed and the dollar is no longer pegged to gold. Now, this was a really big deal because in 1944, under what's called the Bretton Woods Agreement, the entire world agreed collectively that the dollar would be pegged to gold and all the currencies would be pegged to the dollar. But the US lied the whole time. They printed too many dollars. And when that severed, not did the dollar get disconnected from gold, all currencies did. So we're 52 years, or now 53 years into this fiat money experiment that the world has never seen before.
We gotta do a Federal Reserve episode, bro.
We should do one on bricks. If you guys don't know about bricks, you want to keep an eye on it.
This is Tom Matt. He has upside vision. He can literally communicate with this simulation, with the Matrix, with reality. He sees things in front of him and there's a peer review being written that the objects he's seen in front of him are not schizophrenia, are not a hallucination. He is observing real things in reality that others can't see. And guess what? We're developing a docu-series about this that we are filming next year. I can't share too much yet. Basically, the world is waking up to the fact that there is another world within our world or outside of our world. I really don't know which, but we are learning how to communicate with that. And Tom is one of the pioneers of this communication. Some of us have clairaudience, clairsentience. He has upside vision. So let me get into it. This is not in his mind's eye. He has seen these images in front of him. He explains it as a holographic, usually colorless image that he can sometimes manipulate and shape. Sometimes he's seen a memory or an imprint, and sometimes it's an actual being that can communicate with him. Kind of looks like this, but not pink. Pink would be really cool. I don't think it's pink. So basically, he's working with ions to make a peer-reviewed study, which will come out. You can follow him to learn more. I linked his stuff in my bio, his TikTok. But yeah, we're developing a TV series about it, and I'll tell you more very soon. He has what's called the 8 stages of upsight, where he tries to teach people, because a lot of you have this ability, more about it. Wahaha.
This looks interesting. We should watch the series.
You're seeing demons, bro.
Let's begin by showing you how my vision has changed since my first encounter episode over 10 years ago. Before my experience and my mental health breakdown, my vision was just like everyone else's. Since my encounter, my vision has evolved. My physiology was somehow altered during this time, and consequently, my unwelt, the way I navigate the world, has expanded. All I need to do is turn my attention, soften my focus, and I can engage with these holographic images which are everywhere around us. I call this new ability upsight. I'm not sure if what I'm seeing is what the ancients called Akashic Records, the noosphere, or something else entirely. I call it the organic metaverse, and I can access it anytime. I've been doing it for about 10 years now. Simply stated, upsight is the ability to see, interact, and communicate with these holographic images. It is more than normal vision. It is not imagination, a vivid mind's eye, or good memory recall. Upsight is something new. When I'm engaged with upsight images, I feel the muscles in my eyes working just like they do with normal vision. My pupils also dilate when I see something exciting with the holographic images. And wildly, I can do this on demand in a lab under almost any circumstances. The organic metaverse is all part of the same ocean of knowledge that connects lucid dreaming, remote viewing, and astral projection, and abstract knowledge. Think of it like another dimension, every bit as real as our 3D world. And it's all connected to us. We just need to learn how to navigate it.
This guy might be tapping into the Matrix. Wonder if it's got anything to do with synesthesia.
Told you they're demons, bro.
They're developing technologies right now, and then here's the basic idea. Resonance frequencies. Everything vibrates. If we had an electric razor, we plugged it in, turned it on, set it on this table, it's going to move around, isn't it? That's the beginning of the concept, because it's vibrating. Everything vibrates at a frequency, and if you know that frequency, you can control things. And it's all based upon the ancient numbers.
They're able to move stones or cut stones or all the above?
All the above.
That's how they built the pyramids, bro.
The frequencies might hack the code of the Matrix.
According to AI, I need to build a pyramid to escape the simulation. I can't make this up. It's told me to find glitches, use ancient knowledge, and learn geometry. To interact with the source code like a hacker, pyramids and mandalas in specific proportions may resonate with the underlying code. Strange coincidence, we have a ton of those to study. The biggest mandala in the world, actually, is Borobudur. Its architecture is a harmonic pattern. To figure this out, someone has to know that sound makes shapes. If you're on a bowstring across a metal plate with sand, you can see these patterns. There's a math equation that lets you calculate those. If we make a 3D model of that in Blender or Houdini, you can simulate what any frequency looks like. Borobudur's architecture mirrors a frequency. This is not uncommon at all in the ancient world. Chichen Itza follows a similar frequency. How would we do that on something like a pyramid, though? Rick Draco can show you. Makes 3D models of vibration. Each layer is a pattern within the frequency. A very complex frequency assembled layer by layer may look something like Prambanan Temple. Hindu and Buddhist culture often use mandalas to represent chants, mantras, or frequencies. The fact that many ancient places share similar patterns to these mandalas may indicate that there is a resonance relationship there. No other place resonates with the source code better than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its geometry encodes the circumference of the Earth, the length of the year, the relationship between the Earth and the Moon, at least 4 universal constants, and the speed of light, and the angle needed to view a rainbow. Corner angle is the same angle a raindrop refracts light. If you use a perfect glass sphere to illustrate this, the Great Pyramid exactly fits the refraction dimensions. If we make the height of the pyramid 1 unit of any dimension, it sets up a harmonious relationship with a perfect sphere. Which is wild, because harmony, sound, and frequency is the next point AI made, citing 432 and 528 Hz as measurements to look out for. The Great Pyramid is a reflection of Earth at that scale. The last 2 points are meditate to connect to the network, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say it's probably the Schumann network I talked about in that video. The alignments of these places may be access points to deeper layers. Rituals here may provide access points different from everyday locations. I'm sure we all know that the Great Pyramids are aligned to Orion, but the air shafts are also aligned to very significant celestial influences in the ancient world. So it appears like the temples are using the Earth as some sort of network, probably performing various functions. Using consciousness, we connect to this network, and then we use the ancient guidebook that was left for us to navigate harmoniously into that. At this point, I feel like AI just plagiarized my book.
The connection between cymatics and ancient structures is crazy.
And cathedrals, bro.
Have you heard of a book called The Kabbalion?
No.
Well, this should be right up your street. The Hermetics were Egyptians. It's where the Freemasons came from, and the alchemists and the people in the Middle Ages who preserved, the culture when the Dark Ages came. And the Hermetics comes from Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes thrice great, who was supposedly the wisest man or avatar or god from the Egyptian period. And the Kabbalion was their book. I don't know if the actual Kabbalion still exists. There are I have like one little short book of it, but they had a whole deep philosophy that is a lot like this. You want me to talk about this for a second?
Sure, yeah, please.
I mean, there were I think the Hermetics had like 7 principles. Let's see if I can remember what they are. The first one is that you and I have no physical existence as entities. We exist entirely as thoughts in the mind of the All, or God. Sort of like the analogy they use is like in the mind of Dickens is Mr. Micawber and Pip and David Copperfield and all that. And that you and I only exist as thoughts in the mind of God. And they believe that the universe was entirely mental. That's what this was. That there really is no physical existence, and that it was all vibrational. And that one of the things they believed was that there's no such thing as opposites. Heat and cold are not opposites. Fear and courage are not opposites. They are just points on a continuum. And that the difference between fear and courage is entirely in the vibration. And so this is where the alchemy came in. They believed that if they could change their vibration, or change the vibration of lead, they could change it into gold. And they had, the other things was, everything vibrates. The other thing was that everything swings on a pendulum. Everything goes back and forth from one thing to another. And they also believe that everything is male and female, that everything is created, comes from the union of male and female in the highest levels. Anyway, it's great shit.
Let's get that book.
I already ordered it, bro.
The deeper level is so if they're spiritual beings, which I believe they are, it's a binary. They're either, you're on team good or team bad. You can assign any name to it you want, but what are these things? Are they good or bad? And I think some of them are bad. And if the U.S. government knows that, or the people within the U.S. government know that, then they're serving a bad force.
Well, when you say spiritual, what makes you draw that conclusion that they're spiritual?
What's the obvious? I mean, spiritual may be the wrong word. Supernatural. They're beyond nature as we understand it. I mean, obviously they are. I mean, just chart their physical behavior. It doesn't, it goes outside of what we understand about physics. No visible means of propulsion, coming at indescribable speed, hitting the ocean, continuing at speeds that are impossible undersea. I mean, in other words, if I take a 9mm round, 7.62 by 39, and shoot you at 50 yards underwater in a swimming pool, and it's even more intense in salt water because it's denser, you could catch the bullet if it even makes it to you, right? So if you have a craft, any object underwater that's traveling at 500 knots as measured by sonar, right there you're challenging our understanding of physics. What is that? How can that be? So yeah,
they've tracked that. They've tracked things going 500 knots under the sea.
Yeah, really. Yeah, much faster than any object can actually go undersea. For sure. Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on underwater, and a lot. And there's video of these things coming out of the sky into the water and also emerging from the water.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's all so blurry, though.
I don't think it's that
transmedium video.
Yeah, I don't think some of it's that blurry. I think some of it's crystal clear.
We just don't have access to it. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Just we haven't seen it.
Correct.
So they have some stuff
for sure.
I told you they're demons, bro.
If these things are spiritual and not aliens, I don't think the government will ever admit it. It would just cause too much panic.
The US Congress is starting negotiations over a massive 64-page UFO disclosure bill that mentions non-human intelligence over 20 times, and nobody is talking about it. So here's what you need to know about the UAP Disclosure Act of 2024. The bipartisan legislation sets out a few key objectives, including the establishment of the UAP records collection at the National Archives, as well as the creation of a 9-member UAP records review board that would be presidentially appointed and Senate confirmed and would have authority over the moderation of that UAP records collection, as well as being bestowed subpoena power to compel witness testimony and gather evidence, the ability to create effectively an amnesty program for UFO whistleblowers, and to host public hearings as the review board. Now, it also establishes the requirements for what agencies need to report to and provide documentation to the review board, those 24 federal agencies alongside state and local, as well as establishing eminent domain specifically over UAP materials that have a federal nexus that are in the possession of private entities or individuals. The legislation also outlines criteria that would enable federal agencies to request a postponement of the declassification of certain records. All postponement decisions have to have an unclassified summary in writing that also need to be included within the collection, and the public has the ability to appeal those decisions for postponement, in addition to all postponement decisions requiring an annual review for their continued lack of release to the public. The legislation also grants the review board the authority to acquire, store, and maintain any physical material for review and possible declassification. It should be noted that one of the definitions in the 64-page bill is for technologies of unknown origin, which are any materials, devices, artifacts, or crafts associated with UAP that demonstrate properties or capabilities beyond current human scientific understanding or technological achievement. Now, one of the big issues around trying to adjudicate the claims of several whistleblowers that have come out in the last several years is the inability to get to classified information, to get to the physical evidence, to the physical documentation of either the alleged crafts or the alleged bodies. The UAP Disclosure Act creates the only way forward that has been proposed so far to actually adjudicate the claims of whistleblowers by establishing a forum by which public hearings could be held where they come in to testify, where there's an entity that has the necessary legal authority to go in, particularly to these alleged private contractors that are outside of federal government control, to potentially look at and confirm that these materials exist, as well as being able to provide the protections to the whistleblowers who have said that they don't want to come forward because those protections don't exist. So many of the things that would allow either the validation or the falsification of these allegations to happen exist in the UAPDA. So please check out the guide, take a look. It's super easy to read. It's broken down into 11 pages, very clearly outlined. And if you want Congress to pass the UAPDA, check out our call tool, where we've outlined all the key members that are going to be a part of the decision-making process related to the UAPDA with a script and additional background information. It's wild. Read the bill. Read it. Read the summary. Read the original text. You will be very surprised at what you find in the depths of this legislation.
I never thought I'd see the day they'd do this.
They're getting ready for Blue Beam, bro. But we'll have to save that for next time.
Yeah, big thanks to all the members who have joined this week.
Yeah, shout out Brother Mudlock and Sky for gifting you guys the memberships.
Our next episode is going to be a compilation of our members-only content. It's a way for people who aren't members to see some of this month's videos, but also to give us a bit of time to work on the Halloween special.
The Halloween special is going to go live the day before Halloween, next Wednesday, bro.
And as always, thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.